Before we begin, tell me in the comments, where are you watching this video from? She threw my newborn baby into the lake, and 5 minutes later, SWAT police had her in handcuffs. The sun painted Willow Creek Lake in warm gold that morning. Michael Mitchell sat quietly on a park bench, holding his 3-week-old daughter, Emma, against his chest. His wife, Rachel, was working the night shift at the hospital. Sleep was rare. The nights were long and lonely. The lake was the only place that gave him a breath of calm, a tiny corner of peace in a storm of exhaustion. Then came the sound of heels clicking on wood. A woman, mid-50s, perfectly groomed, sunglasses gleaming. Karen Wellington, HOA president. "Excuse me," she said coldly. "This dock is for residents only." Michael smiled tiredly. "I live on Maple Street just across. I just needed 5 minutes with some quiet." But Karen's tone sharpened, slicing through the calm. "Rules are rules. People like you always think the world owes you something." Michael tried to gather his things, balancing his baby in one arm, but before he could rise, Karen stepped closer. Her expression twisted with disgust. Then, in one shocking motion, she snatched the infant from his arms. Michael shouted in horror, "Give her back, please!" Karen didn't listen. She turned toward the edge of the dock and threw the baby into the lake. The splash was small, terrifyingly small. Michael's world shattered. He dove into the cold water without thinking, jeans dragging, lungs burning, his mind blank with panic. He couldn't see, couldn't breathe, only feel, the weight of his love pulling him down deeper. A fisherman nearby, 73-year-old, Thomas Chen, saw the chaos and leapt in. He dialed 911 with shaking fingers and dove again to help. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3. Finally, his trembling hands found the baby beneath the water. He lifted her up, tiny, lifeless, blue-lipped. Paramedics rushed to the scene as Michael collapsed beside them, screaming Emma's name. They began compressions, oxygen. Seconds felt like hours, until suddenly the baby coughed, water spilling from her mouth. She was breathing. Michael's sobs of terror turned into pure disbelief. Emma was alive, barely, but alive. At the hospital, doctors warned, "The next 72 hours are critical." Machines beeped softly beside the crib. Michael sat there in silence, holding his baby's tiny hand, whispering promises he wasn't sure he could keep. At the hospital, doctors warned, "The next 72 hours are critical." Machines beeped softly beside the crib. Michael sat there in silence, holding his baby's tiny hand, whispering promises he wasn't sure he could keep. Meanwhile, the police began investigating, and it didn't take long before the truth surfaced. Thomas Chen's phone had captured the entire scene. Karen's face, her throw, and even her smug walk away. Karen herself had tried to call 911 first, lying that a careless father dropped his child in the lake. But the video told another story, the truth. By evening, patrol cars surrounded the Wellington residence. Detective Rodriguez led a SWAT team to the door. Karen opened it, shocked but still defiant. "Do you know who I am?" she snapped. "Yes," the detective said coldly. "And you're under arrest for attempted murder." News crews caught the moment she was taken away in cuffs. The once powerful HOA president, now a symbol of pure cruelty. In court, the footage played to a silent room. Michael couldn't even look. The prosecutor's voice trembled as he said, "This woman intentionally threw an infant into a lake." The defense tried, calling it temporary panic, mental breakdown, but witnesses crushed every excuse. Mr. Chen took the stand and said simply, "I saw her do it." There was no panic, only hate. When the jury returned, there was no suspense. Guilty on all counts: attempted murder, child endangerment, and filing a false police report. Judge Marlowe's words echoed through the courtroom. "You used power to humiliate and destroy, but justice doesn't bend for your pride." Karen was sentenced to 35 years in prison, no parole. Her husband filed for divorce, the HOA removed her name, and the community she once controlled now spoke her name only in whispers. As for Michael, his world changed again, but this time for the better. Emma survived. Years later, she ran across that same park, laughter echoing where screams once filled the air. Michael and Rachel founded a non-profit, Emma's Hope, to help military and single-parent families heal from trauma. The city renamed the dock Emma's Miracle Point, and every spring people gather there to remember, not the cruelty, but the courage that came after. Michael ends his story looking into the camera. Don't stay silent when something feels wrong. Record. Speak up. The truth always surfaces. Tell me in the comments, what did you learn from this story? If this video moved you, tap like, share it, and subscribe, so no injustice ever goes unseen again.